So when I made my top 10 action films list, two things caused a bit of controversy. First, that I included Terminator 1 rather than number 2, and that Speed was there at all. I'm not budging on either of these points. Growing up, I loved this film, and having seen it in recent years, my adoration for it has only increased. Jan de Bont, the cinematographer of Die Hard and The Hunt for Red October, launched his directorial career with this, and you can feel the blood of those high-concept flicks pumping through every part of this, whilst it still finds its own original place in action film history. One thing I think action films have lost in the big-budget arena that Speed played with brilliantly is simplicity. Speed is a high-concept film, as I've said. It's a heightened reality idea that is very simple to communicate to an audience. The whole plot is basically summed up by Dennis Hopper in just one of the many fantastic lines peppered throughout this study-worthy action flick script.
There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. If it drops below 50, it blows up.
Hopper 2 is for me a little forgotten in terms of the great villains.
There you are. Nothing personal.
He's pretty much up there with Rickman in Die Hard, Swayze in Point Break, and it toyed with ideas of villainy that would later come into play with the Joker in The Dark Knight. He's crazy, but he's not stupid. How can you easily defeat someone like this?
You're out of options!
Obviously, he isn't the Joker. He still wants money, he wants revenge on a system he feels betrayed by, but that element of real insanity behind that, of seeing himself as an artist and an anarchist at the same time, makes him scary. You can feel just how much he relishes the script. He's not quite chewing the scenery, but goddamn is it a joy to watch.
I don't suppose anybody will give me $3 million just for you.
And when you have someone as big as Hopper on the screen as the antagonist, you need a certain type of protagonist to balance things out. Reeves is great in that role. He's not fast-talking, and though Hopper might think it, he's not stupid. He just gets things done. His chemistry with Sandra Bullock shouldn't be underestimated either. It's not quite a romantic subplot, which in itself should be lauded. They don't get to the point of falling in love, and Bullock even jokes that if they did, it wouldn't work.
Relationships that start under intense circumstances, they never last.
This isn't Spectre.
I love you.
Bullock anchors the film, acting as its heart. She represents the bus and those within it. Everyone on that bus gets their own small character moment around her as well. This is a film of decent people put in a situation they don't deserve to be in by a madman that has simply decided they're his mark. You want them to survive. That's what creates the tension. Something too often forgotten in action cinema. Obstacle after obstacle is thrown at the characters, and every time we get some form of relief, it gets worse. It doesn't feel quite ridiculous either. It might be a high concept situation, but if this really happened, just how would you keep that bus moving? Well, maybe the bus leap is a little silly, but the way it's handled, it does just about work. It's established well. Would it be possible in reality? No, obviously not, at least not without a ramp, but it doesn't really matter. It works because you care for those on the bus, you will them to succeed. And also it's fun. Give it a break. Outside of the bus, the film is bookended by two action sequences, a tense affair in a lift, and the final scene in and atop of a speeding train. Though perhaps not as thrilling as the time on the bus, in any other film these would arguably be considered classic moments. The lift itself could almost be a short film, and the train escalates the action beyond the bus in the most fitting way, bigger, faster, and more explosive. Yes, perhaps the film might have been better served by keeping it contained to the bus, but without these parts of the script, the film wouldn't even have happened. Paramount backed away from taking the script, and Fox only greenlit it once the action was taken somewhat away from the bus for at least some of the movie. Honestly, when I think of action films that simply work all together, I struggle to think of many that do it as well as Speed. It gets everything very right. It's a wonderfully self-contained film that understands for us to find action exciting, we need to care about those within the dangerous situation, and have a genuine sense of unpredictability throughout. We get all of that here, along with some fantastic visuals, sumptuous explosions, and a firecracker script delivered beautifully.
Terrorist holding a police hostage, he's got enough dynamite strapped to his chest to blow a building in half. Now what do?